is BB Fell, and should Karen Reed be worried about her? You must follow the law. The law says...
Glorious. Is it a lawsuit? Probably. Why not?
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Buckle Up, It's the Law with Attorney Larry Forman. Folks, today we're going to do a video that is a bit overdue, but better late than never. Because I've been spending some time researching this woman before I'm able to deliver a full-fledged video to you all, and finally, I am ready to deliver. BB Fell. Who is she? She is an attorney that has been licensed in California since 2004. She has gotten multiple million-dollar verdicts and one whopping $105 million verdict in a medical negligence case. She primarily practices in the areas of catastrophic personal injury and wrongful death, as expected, since she's going to be representing the deceased, John O'Keefe, in the Karen Reed case. She's a member of the American Board of Trial Advocates, and she is going to be the president of San Diego's chapter of ABOTA in 2026, next year. Now, she has been doing a lot of interesting things. Primarily, she has been working, like I said, in the areas of wrongful death and personal injury, and she has gotten some very, very impressive, not just verdicts, but settlements, including a $32 million settlement, a $15 million wage and hour class action settlement, and even a $5.5 and $5 million settlements in wrongful death and medical malpractice cases, another $5 million settlement for a boy who was hit while riding a bicycle, a $4 million settlement in another wrongful death case, and finally, a nearly $4 million settlement in a breach of fiduciary duty cases. She has received a host of accolades. She seems to be a very, very talented personal injury attorney, no question about it. But there's one thing that escapes me. You see, when Alan Jackson, who is basically the equivalent of BB Fell in the criminal defense arena, when Alan Jackson was first retained on Karen Reed's case, you may remember that he has done a spectacular job in both trials, him and Yannetti, and Alessi in the third trial, and Liza Little, of course, who can forget about her, the mastermind behind a lot of the defenses, I'm certain of it. They had a good case. They had a good client, an innocent client, somebody who has not committed a crime, and not one, but two juries unanimously agreed pretty much that Karen didn't do this. They were only hung in the first trial, which again, I think they were too hung up on the DUI, and that is why the DUI was severed from the original charge in the second trial, and the jury just took it and ran with it, because they're like, well, obviously she was driving drunk. We think that she is guilty of that, so convict her of DUI, acquit her of murder. That's a W across the board. I always said it, and I will continue saying it till the day that I die. This is a different case. Now, this woman, she's got accolades for days. Like I said, she has been a rising star in her law school since 2013. They recognized her. She's been a top 100 trial lawyer, top 100 women lawyers, super lawyers, trial lawyer of the year, national trial lawyers. She's got all this stuff, which is great, like I said. But for what? What does she really bring to the table? She brings experience. She brings knowledge. But I have a feeling, folks, that she is going to be utterly disappointed when she truly learns the depth of misconduct that was done in the criminal case, which has led to everything that we are going to see over the next few days and weeks and months in the civil case. And here's what I mean. Listen to her in her own words.
My name is BB Fell. I'm the founder of Fell Law in San Diego, and I represent injured people.
I represent injured people. She is a plaintiff's lawyer. She is a person who represents people who have been injured. John O'Keefe suffered the most grievous injury, death. So she would naturally represent an injured person for the death that he has sustained, right?
Trial lawyer, I feel an incredible responsibility to my clients because they get one shot, right? They get one shot to tell their story, to express.
I should have worn my M&M shirt. One shot, one opportunity.
How drastically their life has changed because of some major event that's probably the worst thing that will ever happen to them in their lives. I represent a lot of clients who have either suffered a terrible injury, or their loved one has, or they've lost somebody very special to them. And so when they come to
So again, she is representing people who have lost someone. When she finally gets to the meat of this case and realizes who the real culprits are, there is a very real possibility that this woman is going to withdraw from the case. I don't think she is going to stick around for very long. She seems like a very intelligent woman, and I have a very strong feeling that when she finally starts getting to the bottom of the third-party culprit that is going to be introduced over the next few weeks, she's going to start scratching her head and asking questions. I urge BB Fell to rewatch the first trial and the second trial without any commentary. I'm not trying to urge this woman to go to my channel by any stretch of the imagination and listen to my biased commentary, as one might say. Of course it's biased, because I formed an opinion about this case. I want her to form her own independent opinion about this case, and I urge Ms. Fell to go back, go to Court TV, go to Long Crime, go wherever you gotta go. If you have your own copy that maybe the plaintiffs can provide you with, I very strongly urge you, Ms. Fell, to review the footage from beginning to end of trials 1 and 2 and come to your own opinion based on all the expert testimony. You seem like a very, very talented and intelligent woman. I will not put this past you. I think that once you start digging, you will realize this case is worth nothing for the O'Keefes and is worth everything to Ms. Karen Reed.
To me, it's at the lowest point. And so these people, after a major injury or losing a loved one, put their trust and their faith in me to be their mouthpiece, to tell their story. And if I do that well, it can be life-changing.
Tell their story. The O'Keefe story has already been told. It was Brian Higgins and or Brian Albert and or some of the other McAlberts, Matthew McCabe, potentially others, all of whom will be named very soon in writing in the Karen Reed case. And you think that you are here to help the O'Keefes and it's going to work? Like I said, I think we are going to see her exit within the next 6 months from this case.
It's important to continue to expose yourself to these different styles, different ideas, new ways of arguing some of the same injuries that we've known for a long time so that we can continue to build more tools in our tool belt so we can pull the right ones out at the right time.
Speaking of right clients, the O'Keefes are not it, honey. I'm sorry to say.
And I recognize that each client has their own story, their own...
At least when it comes to fighting Karen Reed. Now, if you want to prove and help prove that the McAlberts have had their hand in this, then by all means, you are in the right place.
Individual pain.
You know what would be really ironic, by the way? If as she investigates this case, she truly begins to realize there is something here and it's all the fingers are pointing away from Karen Reed. Now, talk about a mind, you know what I want to say.
And then story of hope and recovery, hopefully at the end of the case. So we try to convey the entirety of the story and ask the jury to help them find that resolution, help them.
It would be fascinating if within the next 6 months she's actually going to switch sides and come to the defense to go after the Alberts and the McCabe's. I wonder if that is what's going to happen. She seems like a very smart woman.
Other side
I really like her.
And there's something transformative that happens in a closing argument. My client will be in the courtroom, and for the first time, I'm laying them bare. Talking about who they are, talking about the dignity that they've lost, talking about all that they need to get that dignity back, to start their life over again. When a client comes to me with the most important event in their life, it's important to me that everybody at my firm, from the bottom up to the top, treat that as the most important event in the client's life. Not just another case, not just another
She takes her
deadline,
cases very seriously.
but something really meaningful.
I like that. I actually really like that a lot.
Being a trial lawyer. There is nothing else in the world that I would rather do.
If there's anything that I've learned from this video, folks, is that I think Ms. Fell is the best weapon for Karen Reed inside the plaintiff's camp. And here's why. As plaintiff's lawyers, and I'm a plaintiff's lawyer myself, 1-844-774 HURT, if you ever need a trial lawyer that wins cases that insurance companies fear. The problem with hiring her for the O'Keefes, and hear me out, this is important. The problem with them hiring her to help extract money from Karen Reed is that this woman goes for the gullet. She is going to grab you by the throat and she's not going to let go until you give her what she wants. Now it sounds like, wait a minute, but Larry, you're talking about her grabbing Karen Reed by the throat until she gets what she wants. Not exactly. I think that when she starts examining the first 2 trials, which she may have already done, it's been a couple of weeks since they entered her appearance into the case, it's very possible that after she finishes reviewing both sides of the coin, she will begin urging the plaintiff's attorneys, the other plaintiff's attorneys, to seriously start considering going after the Alberts and the McCabe's as the real culprits. And one of 2 things is going to happen. Either 1, she's going to get booted off the team for speaking her truth. Or number 2, who knows? Maybe they will shift gears. Because again, if there's money to be made, if the McAlberts are guilty, and we know that they are, because all fingers are pointing towards them. It's all but obvious at this point. I don't think there is a single, not counting the Coffin Duffers and the Wendy's of the world, obviously, because they don't count. 99.9% of the human population who has looked at this case believe Karen Reed is innocent, and the McAlberts, some way, shape, or form, have their hands involved in this. So if she finds that key, if she finds that the finger point, that's money. And that's what she's there for, to get money. And so the trajectory will move away from Karen Reed and get redirected towards the proper culprits. I have faith that this woman is actually going to be helpful in that regard and instrumental. It's entirely possible because she seems genuine, she seems honest, she seems sincere, she seems like she cares, she seems like she wants to win, she seems like she cares for her clients, she wants justice for her clients. And what's more justice than getting the McAlberts right where they belong, liable for the death of John O'Keefe? So I'm telling you, folks, this may actually be a really good thing that they brought BB Fell on. I think that she is going to be instrumental in helping Karen Reed. Yes, you heard me correctly. I did not misspeak. She is going to end up inadvertently helping Karen Reed. The plaintiff's lawyers are going to shoot themselves in the foot, realizing that BB is like, wait a minute, Karen is not the culprit here. Why are we need to shift gears? And then, like I said, they're either going to boot her off the team, or she's going to leave herself, or something's going to happen. She's not going to stay very long. She is too good, honest, and sincere of a person to stay in this case for very long. Mark my words. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all learned something. As always, I love every single one of you, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, everybody.